Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we'll be going through the Collingwood versus Richmond game, in which Collingwood just got out to a lead very early, basically on the back of Nick Daicos going nuts in the first half. I think he ended up with a 78 or something first half, and then he ended up with a 50-point second. But yeah, they just raced out of the blocks. Him and his brother Josh Daicos went nuts, and they pretty much got out to a lead that Richmond sort of held out for the rest of the game. Very similar to some of these games where the early start and then basically the other team can't go with them early going, and then they basically are just able to put it back into like second gear and then just put it on cruise control effectively, and that's how they just worked out the rest of the game. And so yeah, let's jump into this recap. So Nick Daicos, 128. He ended up 49, 29, 14, and 36 in the last quarter. I thought we might get away with it in the... I think he ended up with like a 140 Supercoach. So I actually ended up doing the right way around with my VC and C... my captaincy on both platforms. I believe I got away with it. Even though my Supercoach season is dead. But anyway, Nick Daicos, 128. Absolutely huge. He just kept on doing what he wanted, basically. They just didn't do anything. 42 touches for him, 20 kicks, 22 handballs, 6 marks, 2 tackles, and 1 free kick for and against. He's just back to his best, and this is why you need Nick Daicos. People saying, oh, you got to trade him because he's had a couple of low scores, this and that. Like, this is the reason why Nick Daicos is so dangerous. And this is why I was worried early on in the season. It's because you saw this, you saw that, and you went, he's gone 111, 123. He dropped a 60 against Saints and 101, and you went, is this really working out? And then he went a couple of 90s, and you kept on putting it off. And then I think I brought him in for the Carlton game, or maybe the West Coast game. And I brought him in for that run. Then he had a bad game against, I brought him in for a pretty kind run so far. I've had basically one bad game and a couple of 80s, and that was basically it for the bad run for Nick Daicos. So those people trading him out, I think we're just trying to look for a differential, but I think Nick Daicos, not having Nick Daicos is probably going to be the worst part about this. Josh Daicos, 111, he went 37 in the first and 39 in the last, and that was about all that he did, but he still went 111. Darcy Cameron, 105 against basically a ruckless Richmond. It'll be interesting to see the ruck situation with Richmond next week, if Nankervis is back or not, as that may change up trades, as I don't remember who they have. But they have, I believe it is one of the major rucks have them. Who is it? Yes, North Melbourne has them. The North Melbourne versus Richmond battle for the number 1 pick. If Richmond do not have a ruck, if they do not have Nankervis, I am jumping on Tristan Cherry. I don't care about anything else, and I will make that decision who I am jumping off of. It may just be a straight... it will be either Grundy or English, who I jump off of, obviously. But that'll be just a straight decision there, easy decision. They need to... They need to dominate that one as, excuse me, the fact that, Richmond do not have a ruck, and then North Melbourne go into playing West Coast Eagles, who basically don't have a ruck, and then they play Western Bulldogs, and then they play in the last round Hawthorn have been giving up points to rucks as well. Bobby Hill did pretty well. Bytel, 84, he did pretty well. Not fantasy relevant, I don't think, just because I think he was just a late in, or was he a late in for? I think he was probably going to be sub if Degoe wasn't out, so I think that he just was elevated to the starting lineup and then scored all right. Schultz, Elliott, Long, 72 as well, so he's starting to get some game time. But yeah, I just don't see him in the long run being fantasy relevant, maybe. I don't know. I just don't see him. He's had a couple of 30s and 40s. I just don't see him taking that next step. Pendles, Noble, Crisp, 65. He has horrific disposal efficiency. He ended up with 19, 1 and 4, and that role is gone and dusted. So yeah, I did have to cop a 69 for it to be done. But his role is gone, and he's just dropping like flies now, while his prices McStay, Moore, Sidebottom, Cox, Will, Hoskin, Elliott, Howe, Maynard. We don't really need to talk about the rest of this Collingwood lineup as they're not fancy relevant. Move over to Geelong. Move over to Richmond. I don't know why I said Geelong. Yeah, that's my mistake. Broad, 123. He went 20, 46, 28, 29. 57 in the second half to back up a good second quarter. And yeah, he just does what he wants basically. But we will see probably him put out a 40 or 50 next week. Given that we've seen it before, I just think that this was one of the games where he just intercepted everything. Vlosten, a very similar case as well. 12 marks, 23 touches for him. Broad just had an extra sort of 6 handballs, it looks like, and an extra 3 marks to get up that score. And yeah, that's why he was much more dominant over Vlosten on the day. As Vlosten had a good first quarter, 45 points, but I just don't see him being fancy relevant for the rest of the year. Short got off to a really good start, 67 in the first half, and then ton evasion kicked in. Only beaten by Hayden Young for ton evasion this year. 67 in the first half, and yeah, 24 in the second, 6 in the third, and 18 in the last. Just didn't do anything. 25 touches, 6 marks. That was all he did. Rioli, 85, 52 in the first half, 8 and 25 in the latter 2 quarters. He was pretty good, but I just don't see him being relevant either. Pressy is about to pull a hammy probably. McIntosh, 80. Hopper, 76. Hopper missed 2 or 3 shots on goal. Had a behind here, but he also had a couple that he kicked out of bounds on the full, I swear. Ryan, I think this is only because of Nank being out that he had to play the primary ruck role, and he did pretty well outside of that, and shows that he can, I think, be that one of the next guys to break out if Nankervis was to go down soon, because I don't think Sam Naismith is going to be a ruck anywhere near the future for Richmond. So I think that Samson Ryan is going to be that guy that takes that role. And it may not be this year, it may be next year, but he is priced at 30-something. So if Nank was to hang up the boots, which I don't think he will, because he is, how old is Toby Nankervis? I think he's 32, I want to say. He might be 30. He's 30, so he's got another couple of years in him. At least another 3 years, I would expect. So it will be interesting to track Samson Ryan. I feel like he's going to be one of the ones that does become a ruckman, but he just needs that sort of time to build out his body, playing as that more forward role. Baker with a, what was it in the end, a 73. He's just not fancy relevant. I thought he would be. I thought in the preseason his role looked really good, and now it doesn't look like he's being able to capitalise on it. Banks, 65. Miller, Kazitsky, Trezise. At least this year, Trezise will get him at an all right price, I would think. Or maybe they get, they're going to give him his 1 game for his 77 or something like that. And then he's going to actually probably be priced more so than he was last year, just because he had that 1 good game at the end of 23. Bolton, Brown, Campbell, Ralph Smith, Taranto subbed out on 40, so he's going to be really underpriced as well next year. Bolter, Smith, Green, Dow, and Mansell. And that pretty much is the video there with regards to Collingwood and Richmond. So if you did actually like the video, remember to like the video down there, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload in the future. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.